Hello and welcome to today's Key Stage 4 English lesson on A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Now you'll see that the front shot today is exactly the same as last week's, because what we're doing is that we're developing and hopefully we'll be able to embed the skills that we've previously learnt, and we're going to be reiterating that today. So again, we're looking at 20% of our final GCSE grade by looking at the 19th century novel. And as you are aware that this question comes up in paper 1, section B, the 19th century novel, where you will answer one question on your choice of novel. You'll be required to write in detail about the extract from the novel and then to write the novel as a whole. Now, the assessment objectives that we are going to focus on are Assessment Objective 1, Assessment Objective 2, and Assessment Objective 3. Now, Assessment Objective 1 is where you need to read, understand, and respond to the text. You should be able to maintain a critical style and develop an informed personal response. You should be able to refer to the text, include quotations in your writing, and support your points. Assessment Objective 2 is hugely important. Not only do you use these skills in English literature, you use them in English language. You need to be able to analyse the language, the form and the structure to create meanings and effects, and you need to use relevant subject terminology, for example, verbs, metaphors, similes, personification, pathetic fallacy. Assessment Objective 3 is where you show understanding between the text and the context in which they were written. So you should be able to write about the time when the texts were written and the times when they were set, to basically have a look at where the author was coming from, what was going on in history at that time. So what views, what values, what messages were they trying to convey? So if we have a look at the exam question this week, it's different from last week's, and it states, starting with this extract, how does Dickens show the attitudes of the characters? So the first bullet point states, how does Dickens present Scrooge's changed attitude in this extract? And then how does Dickens present the attitudes of any other characters in the novel? Now, again, this week, we are going to focus on the first bullet point about how Dickens presented Scrooge's changed attitude. And here is the extract. So we're going to read through the extract, and then I'm going to break down the exam question and then also break down some of the text and show you how to analyse it to get at least a level 6 answer. So this is an extract from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol. We're going to read the extract and then answer the question that follows. So in this extract, Scrooge is reaching the end of his journey and the ghost of Christmas yet to come is about to leave. "Spirit!" he cried, tight clutching at its robes. "Hear me! I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I must have been but for this intercourse. Why show me this if I am past all hope?" For the first time, the hand appeared to shake. "Good Spirit," he pursued, as down upon the ground he fell before it, "your nature intercedes for me and pities me. Assure me that I yet may change these shadows you have shown me by an altered life." The kind hand trembled. "I will honour Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will live in the past, the present and the future. The spirits of all three shall strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me I may sponge away the writing on this stone." In his agony, he caught the spectral hand. It sought to free itself, but he was strong in his entreaty and detained it. The spirit, stronger yet, repulsed him. Holding up his hands in a last prayer to have his fate reversed, he saw an alteration in the phantom's hood and dress. It shrunk, collapsed, and dwindled down into a bedpost. I hope you enjoyed that interpretation. So, if we have a look at the question, in red and bold, I've highlighted the key parts of the question. How, show, attitudes, characters. So we need to look at the methods. We need to look at how, Dickens has shown the change in those attitudes. So the whole purpose of this is looking at the methods, which is assessment objective 2. And we're looking at the first bullet point, how present Scrooge's changed attitude. So don't forget to get the 30 marks. You need to comment on all 3 assessment objectives. Assessment objective 1, refer to the text, use quotations, be able to explain your view personally and perceptively. Assessment objective 2, you need to refer to the methods that have been used. And assessment objective 3, you need to refer to the context in which the play was set and written. So if we move on, what I've done, I've just taken a small part of the text, but I've picked out the key quotations. And the key quotations are in that orangey bold colour. Spirit, he cried, tight clutching at its robe. Hear me, I am not the man I was. I will not be the man I must have been, but for this intercourse. Why show me this if I am past all hope? So as you can see, I have highlighted an awful lot of the quote. However, if we move on now to the exemplar response, I want you to really look at this. Now, you can actually see now the quotations that I've used are actually in red. And you can see that in the orange bold, I've used the methods. And at the bottom in blue, it says, remember, you must write a lot. So your analysis about a little, the quotation. Now, like I said, the quotations that I've used are very short, but I have focused on the methods. So when it says you must write a lot about a little, this is how you will get high grades. So I've referred to the question in the very, very first sentence I've made. So how does Dickens present Scrooge's changed attitude in this extract? Scrooge's character has changed dramatically. So I've stated that. I need to know how. So previously, the imperative verbs, so the method he used were commands to give an order to Bob Cratchit or any other members of society, including his nephew Fred. In contrast, in this extract, Scrooge is begging for forgiveness. Spirit, he cried, tight clutching at its robes, hear me. This time, there is desperation in Scrooge's voice, which is a massive transformation in his character. Where he was once in charge, he is now giving a command, begging for a second chance to improve his life. Furthermore, the verb cried suggests he is suffering and pleading for a chance to redeem himself. Moreover, it is not only his verbal response which shows his remorse, but his physical actions too. The fact he is touching the robe tightly emphasizes his state of desperation and longing to be a better individual. This also insinuates he is on his knees, which shows a fall in hierarchy. Where he once had great power and control, he is now humbly on his knees. So, assessment objective 1, we have referred to the text and used quotations. We've also referred to how in the past, how he treated Bob Cratchit and his nephew. Assessment objective 2, we've looked at methods, imperative verbs, the verb. And assessment objective 3, we've referred at the bottom to his fall in hierarchy in the structure of his class, I suppose, where he was a very powerful upper class person or middle class person. He is now on his knees. So showing in the context of where he was within his society, he is now lower. Okay, so we've covered all 3 assessment objectives. Now, assessment objective 4 focuses on your spelling, punctuation and grammar, and this is out of 4 marks. Now, because it is also used discourse markers such as previously, furthermore, moreover, you would get an extremely high. So this would actually get 4 out of 4 for the use of spelling, punctuation and grammar and the structure of it. Okay, so moving on now, what I would like you to do is go back to the question yourself. So starting with this extract, how does Dickens show the attitudes of the characters? And how does Dickens present Scrooge's attitude? So now what I would like you to do is I want you to pause this session. I want you to continue to go through the text. I want you to pick out a quotation and I want you to show how it shows that Scrooge's attitude has changed. Again, you can go back to the exemplar response that is there, and I would like you to write a couple of paragraphs showing me that you understand how to craft and how to structure your piece. Remember, assessment objective 1, you refer to the text and quotations. Assessment objective 2, you refer to methods. Assessment objective 3, if you can, you refer to the context. Now, let me give you a little bit of a clue about that. If you actually look at the last paragraph, it says holding up his hands in a last prayer. So you've got to think of society at that time was extremely religious. The only day people would have had off was a Sunday, so that they could go to church. So therefore, the fact that he is praying, you could link that into society at that time and what it shows about his beliefs. Okay, ladies and gents, thank you so much for listening. Please feel free to send in your work to me. If you want to email it in, if you want to write it in your exercise book, send us a picture or bring it into reception. We'll gladly mark it, give you a GCSE grade for that. Thank you for listening today. Bye-bye.